It turns out that how, why, and where we taste things contains some misconceptions. Like, how do we know something's sweet or sour or bitter or salty or savory? For years, we've been told that there are different parts of the tongue that may react differently to different tastes. So our taste buds are sort of specialized around the mouth. It turns out that this isn't true. And I wanted to ask a few questions that would help bring to light how we came about this misconception. So the very first place to start is, what is taste?
Our sense of taste. Taste.
Yeah, there would be like sweet, there's salty, there's like, I guess, savory, sweet, salty, savory. Oh, I guess sour too. I don't know, it's like related to a lot of your other senses too. Like you start by smelling something and then, you know, it could trigger memories of things.
I don't know, it's the flavors and the textures of food that we...
You know, like sweet versus savory, but then what does that taste like? Oh man, this is complicated. Oh, because I think it brings people together. You know, food brings people together. You cook it with your family, the recipes come down from traditions. You know, you taste it. I don't know, maybe you burn calories by chewing.
Taste buds sense it and send signals to our brain interprets it, and combined with our smell, we form some experience from it. I think it's so we can tell when something's poisonous and bad for us, and you know, we like things that we like because their body craves them and needs them.
Okay, so first, you smell it. I think that, you know, like, and it's even in your mind, you know, if somebody says like vinegar, you know, your mouth starts to water. Like before you even put the salad in the mouth, you're salivating.
How do we know something is salty, something is sweet, something is bitter, etc.?
Well, certain taste buds are better at detecting certain flavors, with bitter taste buds and salty and sugary. So the ones that, you know, if something's salty, those will send more of a signal to our brain.
I would think like the tip of your tongue, that's like the first thing that, I don't know, that maybe you like if you're gonna taste something, maybe use like the tip of your tongue more first, like putting the foot in the pool, you know, to test the water.
I love it. All right.
I think it does. Yeah, I think the front of the tongue has more of the taste buds.
Yeah, there's different regions for, I think bitter is like the back and things like that.
Do you believe that?
I think so. I think that seems about right when you taste something.
Where did you learn that? I'm wondering, like, how did that come to?
I think we learned it in school. Like, I think it was in our science books.
And notice where I put that on your tongue, right down there
right
on the tip.
The tip.
Right, because that's where your sense of sweetness is in the tongue. And see the other parts over there?
Yes, salty.
On each side, yeah.
And sour.
You've tasted all of those.
So some of us learned this from textbooks and science teachers, but it was perpetuated. It was reinforced by a lot of the educational programming on PBS, Nickelodeon, Discovery Channel, to name a few of those, you know, early 90s shows that told us how things worked. This was something that I learned. I knew this to be true. And now that scientists for the last few years have been saying it's absolutely not true, that taste buds contain all of the tastes inside of their cells, we still can believe the taste zone theory because it seems so plausible. And we're going to listen to another lecturer explain that exact phenomenon.
Taste areas. This is a tricky one. Just a couple years ago, physiologists would have said, yes, there are certain areas on your tongue where you sense sweet more strongly, and salt is a little stronger in this area, and sour stronger in this area. But now the physiologists are debating that. So even your textbook, which is just a couple of years old, has these particular taste areas designated.
See, she even mentions that the textbooks that the kids are using in class might still say that this is true. which is kind of funny because we now know that it's probably not as likely as we once thought, that the whole entire tongue contains all of these zones, that pink, blue, green, and purple. That stuff's irrelevant. All of the taste buds are all over there. But I found it very fascinating to think, even though we kind of know that it's not true, at this point, it's almost like we still stick with the theory because it may not be that important to us. The current scientific literature indicates that it's clear that there are no taste zones on the tongue as was previously understood. In fact, the whole tongue essentially, mostly around the center, but the whole tongue has equal numbers of these taste buds, up to, roughly 8,000, I believe, in this article. And they all have cells and receptors inside each taste bud that can sense all of the different flavors that are in the world. They send that message to the brain, which can then interpret it through the lens of history and family and all of the things that some of my interviewees were talking about. So it's interesting that our misconceptions are probably rooted in our experiences more than in just our learning. And I think this can really connect to the concept of metacognition, which I wish I had time to go into today.